Returning now to Syria, and there's growing international concern about the alleged use of chemical weapons there. Earlier I spoke to former United Nations Weapons Inspector Dieter Rothbacher, and I began by asking him about whether the footage coming out of Syria this week indicates that chemical weapons have been used in the country.
Well, the indications go clearly in the direction that chemicals have been used. Whether it's been chemical weapons or chemicals still remains to be seen based upon the investigations still and yet to come. When you look at the footage that we were able to see on various websites, the signs and symptoms are not really 100% consistent with the exposure to nerve agent as was indicated a number of times. But having said that, it could also be that the chemical that has been used, or even the chemical weapon that has been used, was not a pure compound, and this can happen quite often, especially in those countries. It depends how this chemical has been stored, how it has been produced, and also how it has been weaponized.
Given that we are still yet to verify exactly what happened with this particular attack, do we know anything, for instance, in terms of how long it might be before evidence of what occurred may dissipate and no longer be able to verify this?
Well, this is one of the biggest challenges that the inspection team will face, and that is, of course, time, how soon they will manage to get into that area that has been affected, how soon they will get to talk to survivors of this attack, and also how soon they will have access to medical records and maybe even biomedical samples. Now, coming to the time, well, usually when you talk about now biomedical samples, the time varies. So it could be from days even to weeks. So when they get to talk, when they have contact with the survivors, and part of the team that is in now is also, they're coming from the WHO. So I suppose, and I guess they have medics on the team as well. So then they're able to take the biomedical samples. However, the question when it comes to that is whether they have the equipment, and I'll come back to that a bit later.
We do currently have a team on the ground in Syria who were looking at other incidents that have been going on in Syria. What sort of preparation do they need in order to be able to undertake an examination of the area that's been affected in this current attack? And what sort of challenges may they face in actually being able to carry out an inspection of this incident?
Yeah. Just to finish off the other one, and then I come back to your question, that's the samples, because we're not looking at only at biomedical samples, but also samples from the environment, the area that has been affected itself. And there probably time is more crucial. So we're looking at probably only days which they have to go in and collect valid samples and the degradation products of the chemicals that have been used. Now, going back to the team itself, the team has prepared and is equipped for, according to the mandate which they have been given some time ago. And that mandate actually was to investigate attacks that took place 6 months ago. At least allegations of attacks that took place 6 months ago. That means they probably have a different type of equipment with them now than the one that they would require going into an area that has been attacked, allegedly attacked, just a few days ago, with possibly nerve agent, because they need their own protective gear, detection gear, sampling stuff. So I am not quite sure, and of course I'm not aware of it, whether they have all the equipment they need in order to push forward and be able to fulfill that task right away, starting even today.
And in terms of other challenges, getting access to that site, is that something that may hinder them being able to carry out a full inspection of this incident?
Well, of course, crucial is access. I mean, access not only to the area itself, access to people, to victims, to survivors, access to medical records, access to any sort of records that have been or that are available, not only in terms of paperwork, but also video footage and other recording. And there, of course, the Syrian government plays a crucial role. To which extent they will grant the access, to which extent they can even guarantee the safety and, of course, utmost the security of the team, that still remains to be seen. That, I think, is very difficult to judge from here.
Neil Rothbacher, thank you so much for your time joining us on Weekend Breakfast this morning.
You're very welcome.